everyone, so today's video is going to be a couple first impressions. Mainly my first impression is going to be on the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow 24-Hour Wear Foundation. This is recommended for normal to dry skin. I am pretty oily, so I thought I would do a review on how it wears on people who have oily skin, and that is kind of the main first impression here. The second first impression is going to be with the Cover FX Custom Enhancer drops. It's actually going to be with one of the bronzing drops. This one is in Sunkissed, I believe. So it's more of a neutral, cooler tone bronzer, so I'm going to go ahead and see how I like that. And then I'm also using the Sephora Bright Future Gel Serum. I've used this once before. My skin was acting up a lot, so I was getting a ton of creasing and I just wasn't feeling it. So my skin is in a better place now, and I thought I would give this a try and kind of test it out with another first impression. And I do compare it to the Urban Decay Naked Weightless Complete Coverage Concealer to see kind of which covers more and which one I like better. So if you want to go ahead and see my thoughts on these products, then go ahead and just keep on watching. Hello everyone, so let's go ahead and jump into this kind of first impression slash review of a couple new products that I picked up. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow Foundation, and I'm going to be using what shade did I get? 204 Natural Beige. So I just ordered mine off of Walmart.com. It came pretty quickly, so I was pretty excited. I've seen it in stores, but I haven't been able to find a shade that I would use, so I finally just bit the bullet and picked it up online. So I've heard mixed reviews about this. I feel like people either love it or are just not impressed by it. Hopefully I love it because I'm looking for like more natural, fresh, everyday foundation. Okay, so full disclosure, I do right now in this era, in these past couple months, my skin is pretty oily in this perimeter and in my T-zone. So to prime my face, I did use the Too Faced Hangover RX Replenishing Face Primer. I got it in my Ipsy bag, so I figured I would use that. And then on top of that, I actually put the MakeupForever Step 1 Skin Equalizer, and this is the smoothing one. So I put it in the areas where I have predominantly larger pores. And I do have some acne-ish business going on here. So these are old breakouts, and I just purchased an oil online to kind of try to fake these dark spots. So I'll keep you updated on that in case anybody's dealing with kind of dark spots from acne. And this guy just won't go away, so I've kind of just felt like I'm not gonna agitate it, make it worse, just leave it be. So I guess this will help you gauge, I guess, what kind of coverage it is. So from what I read, it is a 24-hour wear foundation. It has an SPF of 15. It's supposed to give you a radiant finish, and it's supposed to be good for normal to dry skin. So I don't know how well this will wear on me because, like I said, I am kind of oily at the moment, and it is a billion degrees this week, so we'll go ahead and put this 24-hour wear to the test. So on the back it says all the things that I was just talking about. It has a scale of coverage, wears up to, finish, and the texture. Texture is supposed to be air light, coverage is supposed to be medium, so if you want something more full coverage, you're probably not going to want to grab this as an everyday foundation. But let's shake it up and see what this foundation is all about. And I don't know if I mentioned, but I did get 204 Natural Buff. Okay, so it's super watery. So that's it right there. My hand is pretty tan, but my face and my neck just don't ever really take a tan, so hopefully we'll make it work. So I'm just going to go ahead and buff this in, or pounce this in, with a Real Techniques complexion sponge. I'm actually going to go ahead and brush some of this on and then work it in as I go. I'll do one side of my face first so we can kind of see what the coverage is going to be like. So the color seems to just kind of be blending in with my skin color, which is fine. I wasn't looking for any sort of huge contrast between my skin color and my neck color because my neck and my chest are not so tan at the moment. The coverage so far looks just kind of not too medium. I can still see some like redness and stuff poking through. Get any sort of coverage. So I would say it does look like my skin, but a tad better, which is nice. I kind of like those type of foundations for everyday use, and I kind of gravitate towards a lot of those for especially everyday use during the summer, because you still, even though it's hot outside, I still like my skin to look hydrated, especially because I can get a little bit dehydrated and forget to drink as much water as I should be drinking during the summertime, and I just get busy throughout the day, and I mean, I'm sure it's hard for everybody to drink a lot of water. So even though it is hot, your skin can still look really dehydrated, and you'll notice it when your fine lines are starting to peek out a little bit more, just because your skin really needs more hydration during the summertime. So I actually like that it does make my skin look hydrated, and I can see some radiance coming through on the high points of my face, which is typically where you will see the light catch your face first. So that's going to be your first indicator if a foundation is giving you a more radiant look. So now that I have you guys zoomed in, you can see that you can still see all of my freckles and all that, which I don't mind. I'm not big on covering my freckles, but you'll see like some of my little acne scars coming through. So this isn't something full coverage. However, I still like how it's making my skin look. And I think one layer is enough. I'm just going to use the rest of the foundation that I have on the back of my hand and just kind of hit these areas right here, which is where I have more discoloration. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to concealer. I'm going to go ahead and try out the Sephora Bright Future Gel Serum Concealer. I think I've used this once before and I just didn't have like a good experience. So I want to give it another shot just because my skin is in a little bit different condition this time than it was the first time I used it. The applicator really sucks because it just only gives you like a dot of product. So I mean, it's good if you're trying to do like those really cool Instagram videos that people do, but in the morning when I'm in a hurry, I kind of want as much product as I can get at once. I don't want to have to like sit here and connect the dots, you know what I mean? So I'm going to try this one on this side, and then I'm going to use my Urban Decay, and I'm going to use my Urban Decay Naked Skin Weightless Complete Coverage. I don't know, it has like 6 million descriptions on it. Concealer, this is my second tube, so I am so in love with this concealer. And the color that I'm using for the Sephora one is Madeline 06. So the Sephora one definitely has a more yellow undertone versus the Urban Decay one, which has a more neutral undertone, and this one is a medium light neutral, obviously, since it has more neutral undertone. So for me, the Urban Decay one is definitely more high coverage in my opinion, more pigmentation in it, and you can just kind of tell from one swipe. Maybe if the Sephora one had like a different applicator, I'd be able to pick up more product versus having to dot things on. So I'm going to put a little bit more just right here, just to kind of brighten this area more. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my RCMA No Color Powder and just kind of set those really quick. And I'm going to keep the powder up pretty high because I am going to go in with more liquid products in just a second. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit while I go ahead and use the next product. So the next product I'm going to do kind of a first impressions on is the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops. And this is the bronzing kind of shade. This one is called Sunkissed. So it looks kind of like this. They come in those droppers. And then I'll go ahead and give you like a swatch-ish on the back of my hand. So this is the shade here. And then that's what it looks like kind of blended out. And it's pretty nice because it feels like it blends out almost into a powder, which is kind of weird. I don't like sort of a wet or greasy bronzer when it comes to liquid bronzers, and I always kind of shy away from them just because I feel like I might go a little too crazy with them. Whoa. I was not ready for that pigmentation though. Oh my gosh, that is really pretty. I saw Kathleen Lights use these and I was like, I think I'm interested. Because I don't have a liquid bronzer that I kind of like am so in love with. So I just put 2 drops right here, and then it just kind of has helped bronze up both sides of my face. So a little definitely goes a long way. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit more on the back of my hand just so it's not absorbing completely into my sponge. And then I'm going to add a little bit more over here. So that is a bronzer right there. It's definitely gorgeous and gives you like a nice actual natural bronze finish, and it's a neutral, more cool tone bronzer, so it's not going to look super orange or anything like that. It just looks really natural. Okay, so that is the bronzer, and that one is in Sunkissed. It is really gorgeous. Okay, so next Cover FX product I'm going to use is the Custom Enhancer Drops again, and this one is in Sunlight. Looks like a liquid metal goodness, so I'll go ahead and swatch it on the back of my hand as well. I'm sure everybody's seen these, but they're just too magical. So that is it right there. So I bought Sunlight when they first came out, and I liked it obviously as a highlighter. I really do love the formula. I think it's super gorgeous. I think it's very innovative, and it just feels like, it looks like liquid metal, and it's really a gorgeous, well pigmented highlighter. So the only thing is that it was a little tricky when I first put it on, because I felt like I put it on and I put a dot on and it just felt like it dried in a second, and it was really hard to blend out, and it ended up kind of like patching or smudging my makeup, which really pissed me off. But that was my user error. So now I think the major key to this is to go in with a really wet sponge, or go in with very little product at first and then tap it out and work with it that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and brush this away from my eyes real quick. Work quickly, work with a little bit of product, and you won't be disappointed. So I like to put a little bit on the back of my hand, very little, and then just kind of start to tap my blender, my sponge on it, and then just start tapping it on my cheeks and work that way. And a little bit does go a long way. As you can see, that was literally one drop. So it does give you a super radiant, not super radiant, it gives you a super highlighted look. If you are ever going somewhere in the wilderness, you feel like you might be, there's a chance you could get lost in the forest, take your drops with you, because anybody's gonna spot you. I mean, people in space are gonna be like, yo, she's right there. Okay, so those are the drops. I mean, they are worth the hype, and they are really bomb and do give you that wet look. And in conjunction with the bronzer, I'm feeling it. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a little bit of my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and this one is just in the shade Bronzer. And I'm going to set the bronzer drops a little bit, just because my face, for me, I'm oily, it's feeling a little wet, a little too luminous. So I'm gonna go ahead and just set the bronzer at least. It's pretty crazy that the Cover FX Sunkissed one, the bronzer, it really does look like the most natural like liquid bronzer I think I've seen ever. Sometimes with bronzer, it's either too cool, too orange, or too red. For me in particular, I feel like I struggle with finding like one favorite bronzer. And I think this is really gorgeous, and I feel like it's so neutral. One thing I will say about topping it with the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer is this is a lot cooler than the Sunkissed Custom Enhancer Drops. So I would say go light-handed with this if you're very fair, because it can definitely feel a little gray, a little too cool tone. So that is why I like to use it with a dual fiber brush, because I know I'm not going to get a huge saturation of powder on my face, and it blends things out a lot smoother and a lot more nicely. And then I have been taking a little bit of bronzer and kind of going on this area of my face, just because I feel like it looks like more of a natural bronze look, like I really was out in the sun all day. So that's just been my preference. I'm actually going to take a teensy bit of the drops and go ahead and put it on the bridge of my nose. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with blush, and I'm going to be using the BeccaXJaclyn Hill Face palette, and I'm going to go ahead and go in with the center shade for blush, and that is Amaretto. Then I'm going to go back in with my dual fiber brush and just blend that out some more. I don't want to go overboard with highlight just because I already have those Cover FX drops on, and I really like the natural radiant look my skin has currently. So I'm just going to go in lightly with Prosecco Pat. And for me, like for every day, that is the right amount of glow. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put something on my eyes really quick, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I finished my face makeup, and then I put on some lipstick. I have on the Tarte lip paint in Namaste, and then I have the NYX Prune on the outer edges, and I kind of like it. Kind of turned into like a lavender lip. On the eyes, I have some of the Sweet Peach palette, and then I have for eyeliner, it is the Colourpop Call Me, which is like a purple brown type of eyeliner. Lashes are Salon Perfect 614s. So I'm going to go ahead and see how the foundation wears throughout the rest of the evening. It's currently 7:23. I think we might go get some dinner or something, so I'll go ahead and see how it wears. I am going to set my face with the MakeupForever Mist and Fix. So the face is set. I didn't do much setting with powder besides baking under my eyes. I did put a little bit of powder down the center of my forehead and the bridge of my nose and then my chin. That's about it. I didn't do any crazy setting powders or anything like that. So I'll go ahead and check in with you guys in a couple hours and see how the foundation is wearing. Okay, I've been wearing the foundation for over 2.5 hours now. I do see that I'm starting to get a little bit luminous in the oily areas, but it doesn't feel like oil peeking through. Like if I touch it, it doesn't feel greasy, and I don't see the foundation breaking up or anything in my smile lines, which is usually where I get foundation that settles right away, is right here. After I got done filming in the room that I film in, it's really hot, so I was in there for about 35 minutes kind of taking pictures for my thumbnail and for Instagram, and the foundation wasn't budging. I didn't feel like I was getting really oily or anything like that, so far so good, and I'll go ahead and check in at the end of the night to see the verdict. Okay, so it's officially midnight right now. I've been wearing the foundation for about 4.5 hours. As you can see, I am getting shiny here. I am really shiny and oily around my nose. This area right here is usually where all of my oils start to break through as the day goes on, so that is pretty normal. The rest of my face looks pretty good. It's very radiant, very luminous, but it isn't anything like super greasy. I kind of thought it would be pretty greasy, so I was kind of worried about it because it does say, what is my hair doing? I kind of thought it might end up being super greasy or something because it is a hydrating foundation, and it did say for normal to dry skin, which I don't have, but it's actually a really nice finish. As you can see, here is where the oil starts to break down. Normally for me, my pores start to show through as the day goes on, so this area is pretty normal. But I don't feel like it's settled into anything too crazy, which is really a positive thing. Lately, my pores have been really enlarged, and I feel like everything, no matter what I do, everything just settles into my pores in this area. So I'm not sure if it's just because the weather is a lot warmer or what the deal is, but I've tried a lot of things and things just settle. This doesn't settle as much as my other foundations I've been wearing, so I actually really like that. I didn't feel like I was wearing a lot of makeup today, which is great. So I do feel that the claim that it says it's like an air lightweight feeling foundation, that is completely spot on. It wears really well. Besides my oils coming through, the foundation didn't break down on me, and I usually get a lot of settling in this area just because I guess that's where I have my face tends to be the most expressive, either where I'm looking confused or what have you. So here and then here is where my makeup usually starts to settle and kind of break down. That didn't happen the 4.5 hours, and like I said, I was here after I got done filming the first time, and it was really hot. It was like over 100 degrees today, and this room gets the hottest, so it wore really well. No complaints. I love the radiant finish. I think it's a pretty good foundation, and I think it'll be a new everyday staple. So yeah, if you guys want to give it a try, let me know what you think of the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow, and let me know what your skin type is. Anything that you do to kind of combat any oiliness or any enlarged pores. I'm always up for trying new things. I also wanted to touch on the Cover FX drops. They wore nicely. They were actually nicer than my powder bronzers, which is a plus. I do think the Cover FX Custom Enhancer drops are a great product. The only thing is, I wish it was a little bit cheaper. $42 for each of these is kind of a lot, especially for a liquid bronzer and a liquid highlight. The product is really amazing, pigmented, blends out nicely, sits great on top of makeup so it doesn't break down your foundation when you're putting another liquid on top of it. Really, really spot on product. I just think it could have been a couple bucks cheaper because you're getting half a fluid ounce, so I don't know. I want to say they're worth it, but I'm not sure if they're worth it. I wish I got at least more product, or it was like $7 cheaper, which would have been a little bit more worth it for me. If you do have the money to spend, I would definitely recommend it. Super, super awesome product. And like I said, it sits well, didn't do anything to my foundation, and it just kind of blended out beautifully and kind of gave you a really, really nice natural bronze look. So I would highly recommend those. So that is going to conclude this review, kind of trying to get ready with me, all-encompassing video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know how you've been loving any of these products that I mentioned, or let me know any other products that you would like me to try and kind of see what my opinion is of the product. Let me know down below if you have any other requests for any products for me to try. I am thinking of doing this with the Milani foundation. I have a shade right now and I think it's a little bit too off for me, so I'm going to see if I can find another shade. Let me know if you have that foundation and if you've been loving it, and also let me know if you love the Infallible Pro Glow, and then if you have a favorite face primer to put underneath this if you are oily as well. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!